Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Mr. Wolf Larson, the only.
Yippee! Hey, that was David. Thanks, David. So, suddenly, out of the vagina of, out of the vagina of, out of the big vagina in the sky, suddenly thousands of years of poetry begins to rain down upon the human race. Thousands of years of poetry of all of the space aliens fornicating across the sky like a giant Michelangelo mural painted by God's penis. And then God, with his penis, begins to write the poem of all eternity, the poem of words that crash through all of our minds, the poem of words that jump out of a canvas and splash across the world. And then Santa Claus begins to juggle millions and millions of planet Earths. And on all the millions and millions of planet Earths that Santa Claus is juggling, there's billions and billions of people all writing poetry on each one of those millions and millions of planets that's being juggled by Santa Claus. And then suddenly Santa Claus is eaten by a rat on the New York subway. And then the New York City subway train goes racing off into the Mona Lisa's vagina in the Louvre. And then Mona Lisa's vagina begins to sing with a Fauvist opera filled with colors, filled with words, filled with thousands of people all streaming poetry at each other. And in a poem that never ends, everyone begins to eat each other. It's the beautiful poetry of cannibalism. It's the beautiful poetry of thousands of gods all smoking marijuana in Amsterdam.
Sounds good.
And then in millions and millions of alternative universes, there's millions and millions of poetry gods all smoking marijuana. And then giant mountains suddenly jump in the poem, and then seas and oceans splash through the poem. Rivers of words of 6,000 human languages on the planet are all splashing through the poem. And then a lonely man screaming on the street corner, naked in sub-zero temperatures, screaming poetry, screaming music that no one will ever hear, screaming thousands of paintings out of his mouth. And then World War III happens. The end. Thanks, David, to our host. Thanks to our post. Or I can do another poem if you want at the piano.
Okay, do another poem.
Oh, I do another poem. Okay, so a poem jumps out of my penis, and the poem that jumps out of my penis, suddenly the poem begins. Ha! Splashing through, ha ha! All the walls and the ceiling, and then suddenly millions of mermaids begin swimming all over the room. And all of the mermaids swimming all over the room. Black, brown, woohoo, and white mermaids swimming all over the room. All reciting the beautiful insanity that's in our genitals. The only truth, the beautiful insanity in our genitals. And then the mermaids swim into our ball sacks. And inside of our ball sacks, the mermaids are writing poetry. They're writing poetry made out of Art Deco architecture. They're writing poetry made out of a neoclassical, baroque, postmodern insanity that's dripping from our lips as we scream pianos out of our mouths, as our penises jump out of our pants and sing like saxophones. And the piano becomes a tidal wave. The piano becomes an earthquake. The drums become the earthquake. Millions and millions of years of earthquakes, of words, of tornadoes of music, of tidal waves of art, all throwing millions and millions of poems, and we're drowning in millions and millions of poems. We're trying to swim our way up out of the ocean of poetry. We're trying to find air. But suddenly the bar is swallowed by a blue and green and orange canvas. Suddenly the entire city is swallowed by a poem. Suddenly the world is crashing into pieces with a symphony that will not end. A symphony that begins when the human race dies. And then, in alternative universes and galaxies, there are different space alien species all reciting zillions of different kinds of poems. One space alien is on another planet in another galaxy in front of an audience, and the space alien, his poem goes, Booga booga ha ha whoopza bing wabdoobza biza fa shika babadoo woo woo ah, which translates into, there were millions of poems growing out of each other, and the millions of poems growing out of each other were growing marijuana plants and skyscrapers and oceans of blue and green and purple spermazoa, the blue and green and purple spermazoa splashing through the streets of the cities of India. And the cities of India, the imagery of the cities of India are all over the walls of the bar moving back and forth. Nothing is stable. Everything in constant motion. The walls of the bar, the floor of the bar moving back and forth. 3, 4, 5 of each one of our own faces all jumping out of each other. I've got 5 faces all jumping out of my shoulders. Right now, suddenly a tidal wave of my face, of millions of my faces suddenly splash out of the walls at all the people in the bar. And then everyone in the bar begins floating up through the ceiling and through the sky and up into the universe. And there, up there in the universe, all of you are swallowed by the 6,000 vaginas of the God in the sky. And after each and every one of you with your 6,000 clones, swallowed by the 6,000 vaginas of God in the sky, you're suddenly, because each one of you is a giant spermazoa, you're suddenly each one of you born as a sun in a different solar system. And as each one of you is a sun in the sky in a different solar system, you shine your poetry across all the planets. Day and night. A poem that lasts for 100 million years. A poem that soaks 1 million intelligent different species with your yellow poetry. That's the end of that one. You want another one? Or are we done?
We're done. We're going to bring Ellen up.
Woohoo! Zippity bing bong whoppity boop. Hey, thanks to our host Dave. Thanks to the bartender. Thanks to all of you. Sorry I can't give you all the clap today. I got carpal tunnel. But I do have herpes. So if any of you want any herpes, let me know. I'll be happy to give you some after the show. But I'm sorry, once again, sorry I can't clap for you because of my carpal tunnel. Okay, good night, everybody. Whoopee!
Thanks, herpes.
Yeah, man.